Suspended for an entire year for fishing.
There he is. Yeah! Look at that tank!
Fish on!
Oh, yeah!
Seriously? All right. So guys, I'm going to make this video as short and concise as I possibly can. And this is going to be a little bit of a different video than what you're used to bringing, you're used to getting from me and what I'm used to bringing to you. And so I'm just going to say that up front, but do me a favor, watch this video to the end, because I think this is an important time and a potentially important milestone for our sport. And yeah, so let's just jump into it. Okay, so the Auburn Fishing Team has been suspended by the club sports oversight, whoever does the oversight for club sports. So I'm going to start this off and say that I firmly believe that the leadership at Auburn is guilty of what I call a disproportionate application of discipline. I'm going to say that one more time because I think this is the most important point that I want to get across. The people who made this decision have applied what I consider a disproportionate application of discipline. Now, that's to say that if there was merit to their claim, that it was still disproportionate. Now I'm going to get into the second point, which is I don't think they have merit, first and foremost, and here's why. So I was in the military for 20 years, and I understand chains of command. I understand rules. I understand, being responsible for your actions. So I'm going to just put it on the table and not talk about it anymore, that's a given. I believe in those things to my core. I also believe that because of my relationship with this Auburn Fishing Team, because, we were working with them to do the KBF College Series. They're sponsored by Fishing Chaos. They're in Alabama. I'm in Alabama a lot. They're also sponsored by Real Tree Fishing. And the only reason I'm mentioning the sponsorship thing is these kids have done a better job than anybody that I know of as a college team to use their platform to put their university and to put college fishing at the forefront. There are legends in fishing already that came from the Auburn Fishing Team. Those guys have had a huge impact. Their reach was so big from being Auburn University fishing teams that it inspired international students to come to the university to fish there. I had an opportunity to play baseball in college and chose to join the Navy. If I had an opportunity to fish in college, and my whole life would probably be different. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I would have loved to have this opportunity when I was coming up. And I think it's awesome that opportunity is out there. But I also think that the parents that are paying for these kids to go to these universities are paying for the experience. And part of that experience is to be on this fishing team because that's how they were recruited. And I feel like that the universities just take the path of least resistance and say, I don't want to worry about it. So we're just going to not let them fish. While basketball players are sweating on each other, while football players are breathing in each other's mouth in the 3-point stance, while every other sport is going on. In fact, they're playing sports that was canceled last season to actually go out right now and make up their season. But this is the fishing season. And they're being told they can't fish. So last year, everybody lost their season because of COVID. And in July, the Auburn Fishing Team went fishing. According to this letter that has now been put out in Wired to Fish's article that just released. And in that article, they talk about the fact that the school has suspended them because they had 3 violations. So this is my next big point. This is going to go back to my military thing. This is going to go back to my leadership abilities and experience and things that I hold true. If somebody does something 3 times, they should have been warned the first 2 times they did it if you're going to try to discipline them on the 3rd time. Okay? If you're going to drop the hammer on them, everything should have gotten egregiously worse, but it didn't. And then here's the other part where as leaders, and I think that the leadership at Auburn needs to be held accountable for this. As leaders, you set the example. One of the things that you're teaching them at that university is how to go out in the world and be a leader. And I don't think that the person or the persons that made this decision exhibited good leadership because they basically let these kids go fishing 3 times and then decided to suspend them for the season and to remove all the officers, summarily dismiss them from the club who have done what I consider the best job of putting together a fishing team that I've ever seen. I'm actually going to cut right now, because if I say check out the link in the description box, none of you guys will go watch it, but I want you to see what this team put together. I will put the link so you can go watch the whole video, and then I'm going to finish up, bring this thing all together, and get your thoughts. So watch this, how much team spirit and how much these guys love what they do fishing on the Auburn fishing team.
My whole life, man, revolves around it.
I mean, it's not easy. Like we travel a lot, we go all over the place, we miss a lot of school.
Just tough, school tests, struggling in school, just trying to make grades, whatever. To this day, I mean, it helped me tremendously just fishing a lot. And, that was kind of the path I wanted to take, be where I'm at. I mean, that's the truth, because I had a lot of opportunities pop up through college fishing and stuff like that. So, I mean, it was definitely a big deal. And
a lot of diverse areas that are very good at different things, and that's why I think we excel when we go to competitions.
I think we're going to have a shot at Team of the Year.
Hell yeah.
That video that I posted on my Instagram, catching that big one, we have a good time on the water, which makes it fun a lot more.
If you watch that video and you don't get jacked up about fishing, you should probably take up golf or tennis or badminton or whatever other sport there is out there. But that gets people excited about fishing. And just like the Guggen Squad has breathed a lot of life into young anglers getting fired up about fishing, and YouTube fishermen have done a lot to get more people excited, this college fishing thing gets young people excited about fishing. And that's why I think that this is a bad precedent. That's why I think it's a slippery slope. And I think that especially a university like Auburn, who's had athlete scandals in the past, where athletes did stuff that was actually should have resulted in a suspension, and they got a slap on the hand. You know why? Because that sport drove more money for the university. Well, fishing is a big sport, and it could be that same thing for these universities. But I think it's a disproportionate application of discipline when you've had athletes that have had real problems, that have broken laws, that have done, and I'm not going to get into any of the specifics, but universities across the country have done everything they could to get that player back on the field instead of summarily dismissing them when they had the grounds to do it. Now in this fishing thing, these kids have been disciplined for something that they supposedly did 3 times. And again, I don't know all the details, which is why I'm going to get your thoughts on it. I'm going to link up the Wired to Fish article so you can go read that. But to get suspended for the whole season, when these guys have gone out and created tens of thousands of dollars worth of video assets. They've got their boat. They have 20 boats wrapped with the Auburn logo on it. They have trailers wrapped. They have jerseys made. And then they have premium sponsors that are now going to lose out. Well, I don't get it. Did the whole football team get suspended when one player created a problem? You can target, which is one of the biggest rules in one of the most sensitive things right now because of CTE as a football player, and you get ejected from that game and maybe one more game suspension and you're back on the field. But these guys are suspended for the entire season and the whole program is shut down. Look, man, I don't get fired up about a lot of things anymore. I've tried to maintain a level keel. But I think as fishermen, as leaders in the industry, if you don't get fired up about this, if you don't see this as a disproportionate application of discipline and a failure of leadership, that you waited until they supposedly did something that broke the rules, which, by the way, they maintain social distancing standards and they fished under sanctioning bodies for fishing organizations that allowed them to fish unaffiliated, and yet there was no rule that said they couldn't, and they didn't break any rules, and that organization conducted a COVID-sensitive event, and they're suspended for that. I don't think so. So guys, read the article. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Again, there'll probably be a follow-up video with this, to be honest with you, and I'm sure other outlets are going to pick it up. I think this is crap, and I think it needs to be addressed. I'm not into this cancel culture thing, so I'm not throwing names out there, but I do think that this needs to be addressed on a bigger level, because this is a bigger problem if we let this